This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com at the Arnold International Sports Hall of Fame Awards, and Don the Dragon Wilson is here. You actually won one of these awards in the past.
Well, I wouldn't call it a win. I was given it, so it's not like I won it. But in 2015, I got, and I believe I'm the first kickboxer inducted into the International Hall of Fame. Although we mentioned a name, and I believe the second one should be Jean Yves Theriault.
Yeah, he hasn't been inducted yet.
If anybody deserves it, it was him. You know, we fought back in '84, but he's one of the great kickboxers of all time.
And those were sellouts, I believe.
Oh yeah, back in those days, it was before MMA. It was all about striking, and basically MMA they just added the head kickboxing rules, and then they allowed grappling. So it's just mixed grappling with striking. But when it comes to just pure punching and kicking, Jean Yves was, I'm pretty sure he probably had the best knockout record.
And a lot of people say you were possibly one of the best American kickboxers of all time. Any keys to success for you as far as training goes?
Well, I think one of the things that separated us was my defense. Because even the fights, quote, they said I lost, I never got hit. I did not take shots to give shots. I believe they call it self-defense, not self-offense. So when the bell would ring for me, my fights were the first thing I made sure is that nothing he did would touch me. I fought 10-round fights against top 10 fighters, and the leather of their glove never touched the skin of my face. And in my career, twice my opponent's feet touched my face in a 28-year career. So obviously I had the defense against the kicks and pretty good defense against hands. So I would say that separated me from many of the other competitors, my defense.
Now, you mentioned Jean Yves Theriault. Any other top opponents that stand out over your career?
Yeah, Dennis Alexia was pretty tough. Maurice Smith, great fighter, one of the UFC champions. Demetrius Edwards, a heavyweight champion. Bronco Sikatic had when we fought, he had like a 30-fight knockout record. I mean, he was knocking everybody out in Europe at the time. And Adapon Fantal was rated 4th in Thailand. Samat, #1 fighter at the Lumpini Stadium in Bangkok. So they were all considered the best guys of my day. You know, I mean, I fought a long time, but I'd say my prime was 1984. That was when I was on prime. I kind of I retired for quite a while. The first time, 11 months, no fights, and I was out in LA trying to be an actor. So when you're there's no similarities between acting and kickboxing.
Right.
It's a totally different lifestyle. And after '85, I may have had more fights, but you know, it wasn't me in my prime. My prime was 1984.
And you were quite a successful actor over the years, weren't you?
Oh, I've done pretty well. I've starred in 30 films, but I've appeared in many more. You know, I'll do cameos, and now I like doing other genres. Like I did a science fiction film once, comedies, family films. Yeah, I don't just do shirts where I take my shirt off and wear a karate gi, and you know, the old style. They call it retro martial art films. I don't do those anymore.
We cover wrestling too. Did you ever hear of the wrestler Ricky the Dragon Steamboat? He kind of took the Dragon name.
Yeah, I did. But and a little trivia for you. I used to manage a nightclub in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and we had a band that played for us. And the bass player of the band liked the area so much, he asked if he quit the band, he would work with me as a bartender. Would I hire him as a bartender? And he was friends with the owner, so I knew he was a shoe-in. And he ended up working for me as a bartender. That was Hulk Hogan. His name's Terry. He started off, I knew him as a bass player in a band, but he had a friend who asked him if he wanted to try to be a wrestler. So he went back to Tampa and he wrestled, and he became the highest paid wrestler in the world.
What was he like in those days?
Great, nice guy, very nice guy. He was not as big as he is now. He was tall and thin. I would actually say lean. He was a lean guy. You know, he was like everybody, a lot leaner than he is now. You know, but he did. I think he did some steroids. Admitted. I'm not outing him or anything.
Yeah, he admitted
to get big. Well, all the athletes that want to get bigger quick, that's what they do.
It didn't seem like that was a factor in your sport in your days, but I guess now it'd be more of a factor.
Well, look, in my day, I had to maintain a weight. Like I fought as a middleweight, which was 165 at the time. Then I fought as a light heavyweight, 175, and I fought as a cruiserweight later on in my career when I made my last comeback. But when you have a weight division, you can't be. The only guys who really get on the juice and get big are heavyweights.
Right.
Because if you don't see lightweights getting. Well, they couldn't.
No.
They got to weigh in 135.
Yeah, so slow them down.
Well, I don't want to say muscle slows you, but it's just the added weight. You know, there's no heavyweight that can move as fast as a lightweight. So just size slows you down. But the weight division, you can't get bigger. At 175, I was lean. If I put on muscle on my shoulders, arms, chest, I'd be a cruiserweight.
Right.
So it doesn't really work. The steroids does not work when you're lighter weight divisions. Now, if you're a heavyweight, you get a lot of UFC guys. They test their blood and everything, and they got to pull out of the fights because they're taking illegal substances.
What do you think about the different rules now? If you watch Glory Kickboxing, there's no shin pads like in your day, and low kicks are allowed, where back in the 80s there was shin pads and you could only kick above the waist.
Well, I never fought. I didn't fight. I was a WK champion. We fought with low kicks and no shin guards.
Okay.
Yeah, and I fought in Bangkok. There's elbows, knees, and I fought 6 times in Hong Kong. So we fought that way back in my day. We fought 12 rounds that way, which Glory fights 3 and 5s. So for me,
with the Jean Yves fights, you did have shin pads for those.
Yes, that was under PKA rules, which was what they called full contact. They actually never called that kickboxing. Kickboxing is a term originating from like Japan, because the Muay Thai is called Thai boxing, and which is elbows and knees and holding the head. Then the Japanese had a kind of a safer version called kickboxing, and then in America we did full contact. So I would call Jean Yves, technically he was a full contact fighter. And not really kickboxing, because that's really was a term we developed from the Japanese, which is where I fought. The reason why I didn't win the PKA title is PKA did not fight in Japan. I'm Japanese. I wanted to go to Japan and fight. So the WKA was allowing the low kicks, leg kicks, and no holding the head though, and you couldn't use knees. Most of the WKA fights there's no knees. That's a Thai thing, elbows. But I enjoyed the fact that I could do all the different styles, because I only did the kickboxing to improve myself as a martial artist. So I wanted to work under every style of fighting they had. Now, they didn't have grappling as a sport back then, but I wrestled in college. So I already could tie the normal person up on the ground and get what they would call a grounded pound position, get in a superior position for self-defense, I'm saying, and to take somebody out. So I didn't really study jiu-jitsu, but I know it's a very, very efficient form of self-defense. It's been proven through the UFC.
Do you think you would have done MMA had it been around?
Oh, absolutely, because like I said, I was going to improve my martial arts. So if they had a grappling, I would have done it. It was after my time, basically. Yeah. Although, I was offered a fight with Dana White, which I said yes. And the original UFC, I was the announcer. I was supposed to fight Royce Gracie. Well, that was not. I did not want to be an announcer. I wanted to fight Royce Gracie, and they said they would put it together. But would I announce a few fights? And after I announced several of them, they said, "Well, we really don't want to give a percentage. I wanted 20% of the pay-per-view, which in those days was $4 million."
Right.
And so I was going to get $800,000.
And they weren't paying the fighters anywhere near
No,
that.
they were paying them. Look, they paid 8 guys $50,000. The winner got. And the rest of them got like an appearance fee, $1,500, $2,000, something, a small amount. And they didn't want to start giving percentages to somebody like me. So that's why it fell through. And then with Dana White, I can tell you flat out, he offers me one amount of money. When the contract comes to my agent, it's less. So to me, it's not about the money. That's small money anyway, the money that they were given back then. This was to fight Matt Hughes, who was fighting at 170, which would be my weight.
So that was recent then?
Yeah, Matt Hughes was the champion at the time. Matt Hughes had just beat Royce Gracie. And I got a fight offer while I was in Vegas to fight him. Right afterwards, I said, absolutely yes. I said, and we agreed, and I shook on. He had a matchmaker, a guy from Matt Hughes' camp, approach me. And so we agreed on a price, but when it came in, Dana lowered the price. And just out of principle. It wasn't get rich money, but it wasn't bad money to fight a high school wrestler.
Right.
Who's going to try the Superman punch on me? Everybody said, oh, he can punch too. I said, look, I'll fight him free if he wants to kickbox me. If Matt Hughes wants to kickbox me 10 rounds, free fight for the promoter. Now, I would take and I said this too on a YouTube interview, but they took it off the MMA site.
Oh, really?
I said I will donate, Mike, because I still want the promoter to pay me money.
We won't take this off.
Right, the promoter pays me a purse, and then I donate that purse to Matt Hughes' charity, whatever charity he wants. So I said that should be incentive for Matt to fight me. but no grappling, just pure kickboxing. So if he wants to kickbox me 10 rounds, I'll do that tonight. I'm 65 years old. I still do it.
He has bigger problems right now. I don't know if you've been reading.
No, I don't know anything about Matt. Matt,
got
he's
a
a nice
restraining
guy.
order.
But I'm saying, for a grappler to kickbox with me 10 rounds is ridiculous. If that's going to be the first kickboxing match, I mean, nothing against it. Yes, I am 65 years old. That gives him a little advantage, but I'm not going to be around he's not going to be around for the later rounds.
Exactly.
Believe me, at 65, I could fight 3 hard rounds, maybe 4, maybe 5 badass rounds, nonstop, going only for his chin, and I think I'll land on that chin, especially watching him fight standing straight up.
Don't let Bellator find that out. They might still try and make that.
Oh, no, that'd be good money for
still
me.
do it.
Right now, not right now, it'd be pretty good money. And listen, you can, even after your career is over, people will still pay to see you. It's kind of like a carnival. It's like Mayweather.
Yeah.
You know, he totally carried Conor McGregor. Didn't throw a punch first 5 rounds because he knew he had to take it, put on a show. And then when he decided to knock him out, it's near the end of the fight, I'll just throw some bombs, boom, 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 and fight was over. His next fight, he fought the Japanese young kickboxer.
Yeah.
Took him out in 1 round because, and laughed at him the whole time. It was like spanking a baby. Yeah. And that was a young striker. Now, Conor McGregor was an amateur boxer, before he was MMA. Right. He was an amateur. He knocked out a lot of guys just from throwing a straight left. He had a little bit of head movement, and he had a wide stance. He was kind of leaning in shape, but he was no grappler. I didn't follow his career, and I didn't follow Khabib, but I watched the promo for it, and I said, Khabib, if he takes him to the ground, it's going to be his fight, because Conor will not be able to handle him on the ground. Khabib has a style where the more you move, it's like a boa constrictor. As you move, it gets tighter. Each movement you do when you try to pull away, you try to make space, it closes that gap. And that's what he used on McGregor. Every time McGregor tried to get away from him on the ground, he just got tighter and tighter until he choked him out. And the striking, although I did say if it ends up striking, Conor's got a chance. He's got a puncher's chance. He might land the left. But no, look, I kickboxed for 28 years. There's no tapping out. There's no, which we call quitting. There's no, you either knock each other out. One guy knocks the other one out, and one knocks the other one out, or so you win by points. But of course, if you would kickbox, you would. To me, I would much rather do MMA. Less brain damage.
Right, that is true.
The guys who get the brain damage are the boxers. They don't even have the feet to keep each other off. Just their faces are right on top of each other, and for 12 whole rounds, getting hit in the head. That's the damaging. All the other damages I got from kicks and punches, they all healed.
Right.
But brain damage, which boxers suffer, that does not heal. So MMA is actually safer than kickboxing and boxing.
Okay. And what do you think about the future of kickboxing? You mentioned the promos from Conor McGregor. They don't really have anyone in kickboxing that's kind of a character anymore.
No, you know what? They did something that is kind of championship wrestling. They brought in the good guy, bad guy kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And that works. That's why they did it in championship wrestling. But guys like me and Benny, I would never insult Jean Yves Theriault. I have great respect for him. I mean, I wouldn't say the things that they do to promote the fights I'm not comfortable doing that. Oh. What? Oh.
Okay, we'll cut that.
Yeah, you cut that.
Yeah.
But I mean, to me, I wouldn't do it. Now, if we got together and said, listen, let's promote this fight. I mean, you can say this about me, and I'll say, then it's just a show.
Yeah.
I guess, and maybe they do some of that. I don't know. I don't know MMA. I don't know the actual fighters, but it does help promote the event.
Oh, definitely.
Right? If one guy's a good guy and he's bad-mouthing each other, and it feels like it's a real fight. None of my competitions were fights. I fight for only 2 reasons: self-defense or to protect others. If I see somebody being attacked, I'll defend them. Or somebody jumps on me, but that's the only time I would ever in my life throw a punch. Look, I'm from LA. We don't punch when you get mad. We call our lawyers. And then you're in real trouble. But no, I don't fight out of anger. But these MMA, the publicity they do is all about angry at each other. They're angry and they get right at each other's faces and they have to pull them apart. First of all, martial arts teaches you control your anger. And why are you mad at the other guy? It's a sport. It's not a fight. I won't throw a punch at anybody unless it's to protect somebody, myself or someone else. Unless it's a professional fight, And then when the bell rings, the guys become my friends. So my closest best friends are former opponents. That's not going to happen with Khabib and Conor McGregor.
No.
They're not going to become best friends. They're going to eat dinner together and hang out. Or
As we saw after the bell at the last thing.
Correct. Then it's no longer a sport.
Risk the audience's health as well.
But it's a bad example of high caliber martial artists. Well, you know what they're doing? They're not keeping the traditional values of martial arts, which is respect and honor and the camaraderie of the martial arts, that we're all martial artists together. That's being lost in this MMA promotional world. But they are making money, so I can't argue with that.
Do you have any social media where fans can follow you?
Yes, I do. You can just go to Facebook, and it's Don Wilson, and it's got a picture of, there's plenty of fan sites, but it's got me holding a microphone, and it's at a film festival. So it's Don Wilson, and I'm holding a microphone, and the friends are all full up. The 5,000 I got like the first month, but you just become a follower because it's a public site and it's completely open. So a follower is the same as a friend.
So if they want to message you, they can message you.
Yes, they can message me as followers, yes.
And last question, what's your best advice for a kickboxer out there that might be watching this?
In a business sense, I'm out of the game pretty much now, but I would suggest any fighters concentrate on their defense as much as their offense.
Excellent. Well, it's been a pleasure meeting with you, and hope you have a good time.